Welcome to Revealing Conversations with Petra Nicoll. I hope you're having a wonderful afternoon so far in beautiful United States. I'm here today with Kimberly Marooney, and I'm just going to read you her bio. Hi, Kimberly.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, me too. It's been too long, way too long. So, bio: life's change when Reverend Dr. Kimberly Marooney speaks. Hundreds of thousands of people worldwide have been touched by Kimberly's message and teachings on love through her books, best-selling angel cards, courses, and media. Here's why. When angels want new energy manifest on earth, Kimberly is their go-to earth angel. The angels have guided Kimberly into an amazing life of creativity and love. Each work has laid the foundation for what followed. Looking back, Kimberly never could have thought this up. She is the founder of the angelministry.com. Kimberly is here to show us the way to joyful living through angel healing connections. Well, welcome.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you, Petra.
Yes, and the sun came out for a brief moment, and now it's disappearing again. So you are in Port Angeles, is that correct?
I am. We just had a little bit of rain a few minutes ago.
And you went shopping today and had to clean every item you brought into the house, and it's been quite the process for all of us to deal with this pandemic.
Yes, yes.
So tell us a little bit now. I was familiar with your angel cards when I had my bookstore and my little restaurant in Roseburg, Oregon, and used to look at your angel cards every single morning and pick one out. And then when I found out about you and had the pleasure of actually being with you in person, I was so happy. And I think 3 years ago, you gave me a little reading. I remember sitting in my bedroom and you did a little reading with me. And we just finished a reading earlier today. And so I just want to find out, first of all, how did you get to work with angels? How did that all morph? How did this all happen for you?
It started when I was in my teen years. I think I was about 16 when I had my first mystical experience with Jesus. And after that first mystical experience, it woke up an irresistible hunger in me. And so the next thing I became interested in was angels and then metaphysics. Mm-hmm. And so through my early life, I explored many different paths and kept coming back to angels. I was fascinated by them, and they started talking to me, and I started to see them. So they've been with me all along. And through my lifelong journey, I've tried to shake them off periodically. I've tried to just go straight to God, but they're always there. So
do you actually physically hear them speak to you?
Sometimes I do. I perceive them in many different ways. So sometimes I see them with my inner vision as if they're here in the room with us. Sometimes I just get little twinkles and glimpses. Sometimes I get like a picture, like when an angel's around, I'll often see the picture that I chose for their cards flash through my mind. And that'll help me know, oh, you're here. So it's kind of like a calling card. Oh, you're here. And also I know how their energy feels. So I'll feel that energy and I'll recognize, oh, I know you. Mm-hmm. So many different ways.
So, for example, if you were to have Archangel Michael standing next to you, you would know his vibration and what it feels like, because he's an extremely grounding archangel, isn't he?
And it's really wonderful because when we just think of them or we speak their name, they're here. So when you said Archangel Michael, it was here. He was right here. And he's smiling. He's
winking. So when did you actually start doing readings for people? So how did that all come about?
Well, I started in my early 20s, mid-20s. I was going through a really nasty, ugly divorce that was quite painful. And I'd been through a regular marriage and family counseling for about 2 years, and that wasn't helping me at all. And so I was a stockbroker at the time. One of my stockbroker friends said, hey, I know this lady, and she does really deep counseling. She does past life regression work. She works with your soul and your spirit. Yeah, it's painful for me to watch you suffer. Here's her number. Call her up and talk with her and just see what you think. So that was my lifelong friend and mentor, Reverend Dr. Judith Larkin Reno. So I started out with her doing counseling, and then I started taking classes, and then we wrote a book together about divorce because we had both been through awful divorces. We never got that published, but I was just looking at, I have the manuscript tucked away in my closet. I was just looking at the binder a couple of days ago, remembering, oh yeah, we wrote that together. I should look at that.
You know, I have a publishing company, right?
I know you do.
So let's publish it. So I
Do
can't.
you do cards? Because Angel Blessings needs a new home.
Perfect. Let's do it. I would be very excited to do that. Absolutely.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, silly me. Why didn't I ask before?
So I can't believe, Kimberly, I didn't notice about you that you were a stockbroker.
I was a financial planner, stockbroker, and a life insurance agent.
Oh my goodness. And then, so this would be a great title for a book. From stockbroker to angel reader. Brilliant. I love it.
And beyond that, you know, as I love to say now, I wrote the book on angels. Well, actually about a dozen of them. So
yes, and we'll have in the description below this video, we'll have Kimberly's contact information and how to get a hold of her to do a reading. You do take readings right now, right?
I do, yes. I love doing readings. I'm taking readings because we're doing it like this over Zoom, so we can see each other, we can record, we can, I can do guided meditations and show you angels.
So you told me today in the reading that there were 400 and something angels around right now because we needed
437.
437 angels. So that is exciting. It's good to know that there's an angel for every situation that's coming up. And
that's a kind of a funny angel superpower that just kind of popped out of nowhere, as I realized that if I look at people and I just ask in my being, how many angels are with you? This number will just pop into my head.
Oh my goodness. So that is your superpower.
That's one of my many angel superpowers.
So when you walk down the street and somebody passes you, do you say, I wonder how many angels this man has around him now?
I turn it off because it's just way too overwhelming, and it's actually a little invasive. Mm-hmm. So I've learned over the years how to turn it on and off. And when I'm out in public, I mostly have it turned off, and I have my energy field closed down, where I'll be broadcasting light, but I don't want to receive. I don't want to feel people's energy. I don't know what's happening with them. You know, I don't want to know what's happening with them. It's a little invasive to me too. You know, as an empath, we feel so much anyway. So I'm always mindful of, what am I feeling? Is it mine? Is it not mine? I don't care whose it is. If it's not mine, out. So that I can have a sovereign field of energy when I'm out in the world.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be overwhelming if you felt everything.
It was when I was younger, it was overwhelming because for years I could feel the world crying. And it was so painful to live in this experience of feeling the people and Earth herself crying, suffering and crying. So it took a lot for me to learn how to be able to be sovereign in my own energy field, to be appropriate with what comes in and what goes out, and to learn to just regulate, to have that equipoise, that regulation and that equipoise.
So what are you feeling right now about this situation that our planet's in?
I cry almost every day.
Mm.
So I give myself permission. I watch a little bit of news because I want to know what's happening. So I watch just enough news to know what's happening, to know what's going on in my area, to know what's happening around the world, so that I know how to direct the prayers and the healing energy that I'm sending out every day. And but not so much that it's overwhelming. I had a day last week, I think it was Thursday last week, I was asking about behavior, and I was asking to see the past life that was responsible for that particular behavior that I wanted to be done with. And what I was shown was quite distressing, combined with all of the other COVID-19 stuff. And it took me about 4 days to recalibrate and regulate and work through everything that I was feeling with that. So I try to be kind to myself, to pace my own self-healing and inner work process so that it doesn't become overwhelming, because we need to focus most of all on our own sovereign energy field, on our own health and well-being, and most important, maintaining the highest frequency of energy that we are capable of at any moment. And that gives us a natural built-in immunity.
Exactly. And fear certainly makes us lose that immunity. Mm-hmm.
Fear lowers our frequency. As you know, you are a frequency master. When we succumb to fear, it lowers our frequency. It separates us from our ability to have intelligent thought. It overwhelms our emotions in our nervous system and floods our minds with visioning of all kinds of disasters. So the best thing that we can do for ourselves when we are feeling fearful, when we're seeing those doom and gloom disasters, when we're looking forward at what might be happening in order to prepare, because we need to do that too. We need to pay attention enough so that we can look forward and prepare to have what we need going forward. As an example, you mentioned that my husband and I went out on a shop this morning. It's our first shop in 2 weeks. Our last one was 2 weeks ago. And we thought it through very carefully. We had our grocery list. We had our strategy for how to touch stuff, how to manage stuff, how to bring it back in the house. It took us 3 hours to bring in half the groceries that we bought. And we shopped for a month. I've never shopped for a month before. We had 2 shopping carts. It was kind of weird. And as we're bringing everything in, we have a place prepared to put the outside food in. I'm going to call it outside food. And then we took it out. We took everything out of its container. If the container could be washed, we washed the container. If the container couldn't be washed, one of us had the outside hands and the other one had the clean hands. And so we worked together to liberate the contents of the food from the outside container and put it into the clean container. So it was quite a thing. We did a little bit of that the last time we shopped, but not like this. So, and two weeks ago, COVID was just beginning to show up in our community, and now it's here. It's fully here. So,
do you personally know anybody that's been touched by this?
We had a very close call with a personal friend. My husband Dana had a really close call with a personal friend who was exposed, and thankfully he was negative, and my husband spent the day in the car with him a couple of days after he was exposed. And so that really got our attention. And a few other things happening in my sister's life have really gotten my attention. So I see this as a serious thing, and we need to maintain our elevated frequency while we are also paying attention to what's happening to care for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, what do you, what are the angels telling you about this virus? What kind of information are they giving you? Can you go to Archangel Michael and say, hey, I really want the lowdown on this. Tell me what this is. What is this about and why?
So it depends on from what level you're looking.
Okay.
So there are many different perspectives to look at this. So from one level, we created this ourselves because there's a group of souls who are ready to go, and they wanted to have an easy way to go, fairly easy way to leave that was reasonably quick, not terribly traumatic, because they were done. And you know, if you have a strong body and you want to go, sometimes your body just, you have to wait for your body to wear itself out. So there are quite a few people right now who are actually ready to go. And so from one perspective, this is a gift to them to help them relatively easily drop the body and return to spirit. So that's one perspective. From another perspective, I'm hearing that this is the great awakening that is happening right now, that our shelter in place is the time for us to practice, to live upward into elevating our consciousness from third dimension fear and suffering into fifth dimension love and compassion. So this is our practice time where we are invited to every day question everything in our lives, to change everything in our lives to be supportive of this practice and experience of living upward into the higher dimensions. To practice where every time we have negative thoughts or judgmental thoughts or fearful thoughts or angry thoughts, to welcome them, to say, I am so happy that you have revealed yourself. Not because I want to revel in anger or judgment, but because I want to see what is ready to release. And so, you know, I've had some pretty hardcore, nasty thoughts going through my head. And as I look at them, there's a part of me that wants to be judgmental. You know, oh my God, I'm still thinking like this. You know, there's the ego part that wants to judge these wide array of crazy shit that's going through my brain when I'm not paying attention, you know, in those mind wandering times where we're in between and we just let our brains wander. We're heading into a period of time in the fifth dimension reality where our thoughts and our feelings manifest much more quickly. And so we need to really take advantage of this training period while we're still in that tremendous lag. That lag between thoughts and manifestation, you know, the law of attraction thing, that lag was a benediction, so that we're not manifesting all this crazy ass batshit crazy stuff that we think. But we're moving into that. So as awakened masters, our thoughts materialize. And my God, I sure wouldn't want to have 90% of what my brain is thinking these days manifesting in life. So this is our training period. This is our training period for when we have those kind of negative, judgmental, harmful thoughts that go through our minds. This is our training period to recognize them with compassion and say, look at you. I am so honored to be a part of your release into the light. And then if you do theta healing or any other kind of healing, I'm using theta because I like it, or I'm just using angels, I use theta healing to elevate this program and to delete this program, to send it into the light, for the energy within it to be transmuted into love, to be recirculated to support us in raising our vibration, and then replacing it. So I look at, well, what's the nature of this program? And what would be a beautiful replacement for that? What could I seed into my consciousness and the consciousness of humanity to replace those harmful wishes or that hatred or that anger or whatever it happened to be in the moment? And that way I am fulfilling my mission to awaken myself and to awaken as many people as I can on the journey forward. And to just to be a presence of light. I wore my sunshine yellow, orange top today to be that radiant sunshine of light, of love, of truth that we can be when we just remember.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You know, years and years ago, gosh, this has been 30 years ago, perhaps, or more, when I was living in India with my spiritual teacher, Santakar Singh. He was a Radha-Swami master, and he comes from the lineage of Guru Nanak. And Kirpal Singh was his master, and before that, Baba Sawan Singh. And Baba Saban Singh said that America, Turtle Island, as he called it, would be the leader in spirituality for the planet. And so I'm holding that space right now for something really big to happen that would release us from this corruption and negativity that's been going on for so many, many, many centuries in the name of greed and power. And also, my teacher personally told us that there would be a time when no planes are flying, and many people will suffer due to food shortages. He didn't really say that a pandemic would happen or something like that, but he said that there would be food insecurity on the planet. And I think that this is just a reminder again that we're operating better if we are in smaller areas. You know, if people go back to growing gardens and we're not doing everything on a corporate level because it's not working. People need to come back to smaller communities and make sure that they are squared away and that they have their chickens and their eggs and their cows and their own milk, and we get rid of all this other mass farming. And people would, you know, there are villages, I think in Norway it is, where they've become quite self-sufficient. And that's really where my love is, you know, creating community for 100 or 200 people, small villages, something like that. That's what I'm seeing.
Well, Spirit moved me 4 or 5 years ago. Spirit moved me to Port Angeles in the Pacific Northwest, this small community. And I feel very fortunate to be here because I was instantly put into a group of friends. Almost immediately, within weeks of moving here, Spirit orchestrated us to meet and began to connect me in with this community of friends. And then we also have our own little farming community around here. So most of the produce that we eat year-round is locally grown. And we have this structure in place here that's very sweet. We have a local dairy farm that does raw milk, which I like to have for my health. And so we have a lot of pieces communally in place in our sweet neighborhood here that I feel very fortunate to be sheltering in place here.
Where did you move from?
We moved from Santa Cruz in the Bay Area in California.
Okay.
San Francisco Bay Area in California, or Monterey Bay Area in California.
Mm-hmm. So I heard yesterday, I think it was, from a medium, Samantha Jane. Mm-hmm. Have you heard of her?
No.
She was also I need to connect you. She was in the finance market also and sold her business 2 years ago. And now she's doing readings on YouTube, or, you know, she's doing it live mostly, questions and answers. And she was talking about the economy quite a bit because of her financial background and the movement, how we're going to be migrating. And she talked about how Europe, you know, could be going through some real difficult times after this is over, especially Italy and Greece and the United Kingdom, and that there would be some restructuring taking place in terms of farming and who provides the food and who grows what, etc. Because when I go to Germany, I mean, there's still, in Bavaria, there's still all these farmers markets, you know, it's just delightful to go to Viktualien Markt in Munich, and it's just, everything is there. You can get just about anything you ever want. And I can't imagine how after this pandemic of just a few months that, you know, things couldn't go just back to normal. I know people are going to be losing their jobs, but what's your opinion on this?
Nothing will ever be the same again. The angels started to tell me that from the very beginning, the very first news of the pandemic. The angels were telling me nothing will ever be the same again. And it will be wonderful. Mm-hmm. So this is our opportunity to imagine what kind of life we'd like to have, like you with the little independent or the little self-sufficient neighborhoods. I love that vision. I've been holding a vision like that for a long time. 10 years ago, Dana and I met a guy in Santa Cruz who was talking about neighborhood energy production stations. Mm-hmm. So there's the know-how and there's the technical know-how and the equipment available now for each neighborhood to have its own little energy production facility, a small little energy production facility, so that we are not on a huge grid. So, right. Speaking of self-sufficiency, each little neighborhood is producing its own power. So, there's food, there's power, there's water, there's education, there's our inner spiritual development. Wouldn't that be a wonderful life, to live in communities where we were in harmony and everybody had their place? I love that vision. That's what I've been holding in my heart.
Exactly. And so it's not necessary to have millions and millions of dollars. What are you going to buy with it?
Yeah, right.
How many vacations can you take? How many shoes can you own? How many diamonds and how much gold and silver can you hoard? My guru used to have such a fun time. You would always quote Alexander the Great. You know the story of Alexander the Great, right?
Well, I don't know what part you're meaning.
Well, the part was that, he conquered all the lands and he became literally king of the world. And then one day he became old and he started to disintegrate, he started to decline his health. So he called on all the wise men to come in and give him advice. And he called every guru and every single one in his kingdom to give him some input of how and what he could do to prolong his life. And they had to tell him eventually, that even he's Alexander the Great, he's also going to die. And so he couldn't believe that this was possible. That how could he conquer all these kingdoms and then just die? And he can't take any of this with him. So he ordered that when he would die, that they would take him in a casket and have his hands and feet hanging out through the marketplace, so the people, his subjects, could see that you come naked and you leave naked. So
there we go.
There you go. So what's next for you now? You have a new book out?
I have a new book, The Little Book of Angel Healing. This came out in September, and little did I know when I was writing it that it was for now. So First Aid from the Heavenly Realms, there are 30 different remedies here. They are for physical conditions, relationships, and also emotional issues and spiritual issues. So it's 30 different ways to connect with your true self, to bring in your pattern of perfection, to bring in your true self, your eternal self, to merge in with your physical body, your physical life, and to release the struggles of the past into this new state of being connected and whole. So I'm very happy about my little book of angel healing.
So are these prayers?
There are prayers in it. There are processes. So there's 30 processes. I call it the angel prescription. So it tells a story. So let's see. Many of the stories, I went back through 15 years of emails looking at what were people writing to me. And I happened to open to chapter 21, Open My Heart to Love. And I still remember this email. I think I took it pretty much straight out of the email where the writer was asking me, I feel the love and comfort of the angels. I am so blessed. But I want to open my heart more. How can I walk through life in the embrace of the angels? And don't we all have that question? Mm-hmm. And so I talk about Mother Mary, who is the Queen of the Angels, and the fifth gateway initiation, which is anchoring the source of divine love into your life. And then I talk a little bit about our rosary. Our angel ministry received Bring the People Back to My Love, a Rosary for the Children of Light. That helps us to connect with our devoted hearts and with divine love. And then the angel prescription to be more connected is Archangel Shamuel's Adoration and Worthiness activation. So I take you through the short version of how to quickly do that Adoration and Worthiness activation. And then there's a prayer from Archangel Michael that my friend, Reverend Bobby Bramson, one of our angel ministers, wrote about self-love and acceptance. And then in here I have a link so that you can go access the Archangel Shamuel's activation for free.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
Each chapter is like that. It has a topic. It has some discussion on it with the angels that help us and how that might be manifesting in your life. There's the angel prescription, which is a meditation or an action that you can do in your life to help bring in and anchor this new energy physically into your body from the heavens, anchoring heaven onto earth. And then a prayer to help you really feel the goodness and the joy.
Well, when you took me through the meditation today, when we did the reading, it was really wonderful. I truly felt the love enveloping me, and I felt the angels around me, and it was just so fantastic. So I encourage everyone to call Kimberly and get a reading with her or get her book. Is your book on Audible already or not quite yet?
Not yet. We don't have an audio version yet, although I would love to read one and do those guided meditations. But I have some of them already on the internet. And if you have the book, there are 9 different links in here, 2 different recorded meditations and processes that are in the book. And you can actually go to angelhealingfirstaid.com and watch some videos and see all kinds of groovy stuff, and we'll order your copy.
Perfect. And that's your website?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So another thing that I was always told, and it was 35 years ago I learned, is that we have already 1 foot in the 4th dimension, in the photon belt. And that this is the time now where the frequency is changing very rapidly, like you spoke of earlier. Like you're thinking something and it happens very, very quickly. So, and many souls on the planet might not be ready to transition. So this is an ascension process right now.
Yes.
Happening. And so we're ascending into love.
We are.
Because love is the highest vibration. And so fear and anxiety, feeling angry, feeling all the violence on the planet, all of that has got to go.
Well, when it comes up in us, we don't want to repress it. We don't want to make it spiritually undesirable or repress it or anything. We have feelings, and it's natural for us to have those feelings. And all of our feelings are trying to bring something to our attention. So if we're angry or if we're resentful or if we're, if we're having those kinds of irritated feelings, they have a reason. They're revealing to us that either we have a program that's ready to release, or someone has crossed over our invisible boundaries that we didn't even notice have been crossed. And this anger or this, whatever the feeling is trying to say, wakey, 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 something's happening here, pay attention. Another thing that the angels told me way back was that when we feel afraid, there are a couple of different components to fear. We're talking about different perspectives. One of the perspectives on fear is that we were programmed to feel fearful when there's more powerful energy around us than what we are holding in the moment. Our nervous system perceives that as a threat. And it's also to perk up our attention, to get our attention to assess, well, what is this greater energy that's here? Is this something that's beneficial? Is this something that's dangerous? What is this greater energy? And a lot of times that greater energy is the answer to our prayer. It's come in, it's hanging out there near us, it's trying to enter, it's pushing into our energy fields. And because of the way our nervous system is wired, when there's more energy present than we're accustomed to, our nervous system freaks out. It does the repel invader thing or the fight or flight thing. It goes crazy. We get fearful, we get angry, we get irritated. And if we just take a breath, I learned this the hard way. I was stomping around one day feeling really agitated, saying, what? And after I'd done that a few times, that I just quieted and I got sat down. It's like my body just sat right down onto my meditation pillow in my meditation space. And I received this understanding that agitation, I was feeling that agitation quite a lot in my life. Sometimes it seemed fearful. Sometimes it just seemed like agitation. Sometimes it felt like irritation. And what I discovered that day on my meditation pillow was that I came to call this angel-induced agitation, because I'd been praying, I'd been asking, and this was the answer, but I didn't recognize it. I was misinterpreting it. And the moment I took a breath and I sat down and I got out my journal and I started to breathe and relax and go within, all of this information downloaded into me about this connection between our nervous system and the energy. So another way that I've been working with this is at night when I lie down to go to sleep, I often feel a tremendous rush of energy that is frighteningly intense. And I lie there trying to go to sleep with this like pounding heart and this massive influx of energy going on. And what is that? For a while I thought it was agitation, but I've learned that often my diagnosis is wrong. So when I'm having intense feelings, I've learned to just relax and breathe with them and be curious. I love curiosity. What is this? So I still don't have any real clear answers about that nighttime surge that happens. My sense is, though, that again, it's some kind of answer to my prayer. So I've started to wonder, I love what ifs. So at night I do a prayer with Master Healer Jeshua. So, and I ask for his white healing manifesting light to flow through me. And so a couple of nights ago, I started wondering, what if this is Master Healer Jeshua putting his hands on my head and filling my body with that intense white healing energy that I was just asking for an hour ago? Could that be?
Well, I was just thinking as you were speaking about this, Kimberly, I thought, heck, if I was an angel reader like you, and you'd have 400 some angels in the room, I'd be probably levitating off the bed. So I would think that to be quite normal.
Well, it all depends on how you're interpreting it. So when I'm trying to go to sleep at night and I am just like buzzing on fire with this energy, trying to go to sleep, what do you do with that?
Well, get up at 4 a.m. and just meditate as much as possible, I guess.
So this is our opportunity now everything that happens is important right now. Mm-hmm. So our opportunity is to pay attention to every thought, every feeling, every occurrence, every phone call, every incident in life, because right now, in this powerful transition from third dimension to fifth dimension energy, everything is important, everything matters. Every negative thought, every negative emotion, everything that we would normally consider lower and distressing, it is begging for release and upliftment in us because we are the master healers. We are the light workers. It's coming to us because we are the light workers. There's no coincidence that I'm having all of these really angry and vengeful and hurtful thoughts. They're coming to me from collective consciousness, asking to be deleted, to be lifted up into the light of divine love, and to have that energy recirculated, disseminated, and recirculated into the goodness of all that is. So there are no coincidences, no accidents. Everything right now is really important. And part of the reason why we are sheltering in place is to give ourselves a greater opportunity to focus on this journey of awakening.
And what do you think what's your sense of the planet in terms of people really getting that message? Is it 50-50? I mean, I'm sensing that there are some people that are really, at least all my friends, you know, people I talk to on a daily basis, they're all meditating and playing games, or, you know, organizing the basements and things like that. But then there are some that are clearly going out of their minds, especially if we lost the internet and our cell phones for a few days, as I heard as of late, that could happen. So, hey, if the internet goes out and your phone stops, chill out, just relax, go for a walk.
Right. And find other things to do with your energy. Mm-hmm. Maybe you read a book, maybe you meditate more, maybe you do more yoga or walk more. Maybe you hang out with your beloveds, whoever they are. Go out and do yard work. Organize stuff. This is a great time for house cleaning, for cleaning out your closets, for organizing stuff. I don't know about you, but we're washing everything we can wash.
Well, I've been cleaning out the basement, making food storage space. Great.
Yeah, and
I must have starved in some lifetime. My boyfriend always says to me, he says, you must have starved in your last lifetime or something. You're really worried about the food.
Well, food security is important. And like you, I've been hungry in this life. Okay. And I know that I've starved to death in other lives. And so food security is important. That's why we just went out today and bought a month's worth of groceries. And I was trying to figure out how we could have fresh greens. And you reminded me about sprouts. You know, I forgot about sprouts. You know,
you've encouraged me, by the way, today, Kimberly, to continue with the YouTube channel. And I thought, gosh, I should really do a show. I've got 6 mushrooms boiling in pots right now, and 5 different kinds of sprouts. Today I made a lentil and mung bean sprout soup because we had too many sprouts. I sprouted too many sprouts, and you know how sprouts are.
They're short-lived. You have to use them.
Yeah, so I can teach people how to live on 50 cents a day with sprouts, literally. And you're getting lots of vitamins and minerals. So
well, I bought lentils today. I don't know if they're the sprouting kind, but I bought lentils today. So,
did you get the brown ones?
Brown ones.
They sprout. Those sprouts.
Oh, perfect. So I'll start soaking.
I think, you know, it was really funny. I went to the store and all the brown lentils had sold out. There were none.
We had brown lentils. We had lentils. There was a lot of other stuff that was gone, but there were lentils there. So.
Great. That's wonderful. So, in closing, is there anything else you would like to say to the audience about what to do, how to prepare, how to calm yourself down, or is there anything else that you would like to share?
So I want to come back to this question of how are we awakening right now, because that is the most important thing in my life. And to speak to that, God the Father and Jeshua began talking to me about a little over a week ago with a daily message, coaching us through this important shelter-in-place time in how to step by step, easily, effortlessly elevate our consciousness. We can do this. There's no complicated formula. You don't have to have any metaphysical background. It's really easy. Like the first day, the instruction was rest, lie down for at least 15 minutes twice every day. And they later told me, a week later, they told me the reason why we're doing that is that during that rest period during the day, we are literally getting rewired in our physical body, our nervous system, our energy bodies for fifth dimensional living. And if we won't lie down for those 2 times, it has to happen, for some reason, it has to happen during our day. If we don't lie down for those 2 times, and I haven't laid down at all yet today, if we don't lie down, they can't do the rewiring. So they're asking us to please cooperate. So there have been other sets of really of doable things. We just have to learn how to incorporate that into our day. And, you know, it's short breaks. You can do it. So even if you're working from home, you can find a way to lie down for 15 minutes twice a day. Mm-hmm. And I'll still get my 2 lay downs in today after we finish. And I haven't listened for today's message yet. But so I've set these messages up so that you can get them in sequence. And in order to get these really important instructions for right now on how to wake up, go to activateyourdivinity.info. That's activateyourdivinity.info. And you can start getting the daily messages in your email, taking you through this sequence of literally lighting up and moving into our light bodies in little steps that we can do every day. It is so brilliant. As I'm getting these messages, I was laughing this morning with a friend of mine who's a channel, and we're laughing about how you have to just follow the directions. So one of the messages started out with, "We have so much to tell you." And, I'm thinking that this is just an instruction to me, and I'm not writing it down. And so, "We have so much to tell you." And I'm, yeah, okay, right, I'm ready. "We have so much to tell you." Oh, that's part of the message. Okay. "We have so much to tell you." And then it's really amazing because as I'm listening, my brain wants to make up where it's going. So part of my discipline is to remain open and not try to make up where I think it's going, because it's hardly ever that a sentence ends up at the end where I thought it might be going from the beginning, which really tells me how very precious this is, because I'm sure not making it up. It's not going where I think it should.
So we're being rewired and asked to take a break 2 times a day, twice a day for 15 minutes, so that we can be realigned to the frequency that we're being shifted into.
Yes, the frequencies of love, compassion, of peace, of joy, of bliss. We've had, I think, 3 or 4 different messages that just take us straight into bliss. And I can't wait to record these. I want to put them on audio so we can just listen, put them in your earbuds and listen to them and just relax into them. I haven't had time to do that yet.
Well, we have time now, but I think you might get really busy, Kimberly. You are busy, but maybe you'll get even busier. So I would like to thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing with people, and just for my audience to remember that you have angels all around you. You're never alone, even if you feel alone right now and you can't see your loved ones, and they, wherever you are in the world, whatever you're doing, you are not alone. There is always someone with you. And it's, by the sound of it, it's not just one angel. There are lots of angels active right now. And if we can just close our eyes and listen to a meditation or a nice piece of music, we can tune into that and feel the frequency, feel the vibration of love and light and joy, and feel that enveloping of this warmth that the angels bring to our hearts. So I just want to thank you again for doing this amazing work for all of us, and for my reading today. And you are just a remarkable woman, and I'm so, so happy to know you.
Oh, thank you, Petra. I feel the same way about you. We are soul sisters. Clearly, we are soul sisters, and I love reconnecting with you to feel this sharing of love and joy and peace that we have together.
Thank you. Thank you, Kimberly, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.